the raw me here, Jeff Hawley here. Um, Courageous Conviction. I just wanted to reach out because in my book, um, Revving the Soul, which is available on Amazon, I talk about addiction and overcoming addiction. And on my website, um, I talk about RTT or rapid transformational therapy. And I want to reach out to people to help them. I know there's a pretty significant cost there of, you know, $200 per session. Um, a lot of times with addiction, it can take, 3 sessions, even more. Um, but it's not traditional talk therapy. So, I don't want anybody to get the idea that money here is at the core of getting better because it's not. Um, it didn't really cost me any money to get better. I did spend a lot of money, significant thousands of dollars to get certified with this program of rapid transformational therapy through Marissa Peer. And there's a lot of things I really enjoy about it. It is a tool. That's all it is. And, I have a busy, corporate job and I've got kids and a wife and all kinds of things going on with sports and things like that. But I would be a liar if I said that everything is just fine with me because I've gotten through my stuff and the heck with everybody else. The real purpose behind this whole program that I'm offering is not money motivated. I mean, it's things will come with time, perhaps. I believe that. Um, but RTT, it can be a brief working towards getting over things like serious addiction. I know I did, through helps self hypnosis and whatnot. I didn't have RTT available to me, but they're the same principles that I was taught through rapid transformational therapy to get through my own addiction. And I see people on the street. I drive around because I'm in sales and I want to see people be able to change. And maybe you have a friend or somebody that really wants to change and they can't. I think especially if they have a belief in God, it's not a requirement. They might be struggling with God. If they have an LDS background, even better. If not, that's fine, but I'm putting myself out there to help others on a limited basis. If you reach out to me on my website or through my Facebook page, either one, I'll take I'll take on new clients pro bono just to see and just to see you get through your own addictions. And so anyway, what is RTT about? Well, it's going to enhance and embrace the many enormous aspects of not just hypnosis and hypnotherapy that have been known to help others transformative wise, have positive effects to change, finding those root causes. That's really important with hypnosis and to go and dig a little bit deeper. If you're being blocked mentally, I've had a few clients, recently that were one in particular was blocking going deeper. And, nobody's going to force you into going and reliving the past. That's not what this is about. It's only about, hey, we're an adult, and with this kind of hypnosis, you do have to kind of go back and do some work, and look at things differently. So we have behaviors that we've grown into acquiring in our older ages, um, and those things can really lead to being what we would call the root cause of almost any addiction. Um, Addictions are present because we don't feel good enough about ourselves. We're not enough. And that's because we have some underlying connection to those past instances and events in our lives that were traumatic, and we just have to come up with new ideas to look at the same events and say, "Hey, I'm an adult now," and instead of um, "I believe this way about myself. I'm an addict. There's no changing because that's just who I am." Well, we don't have to identify as being an addict anymore. I do reject the whole model of, you know, once an addict, always an addict attitude. I think it's demeaning. It's untrue. Um, and I really don't care what other people say about it. I haven't been an addict for years. I've had to have, I've seen plenty of doctors since then and had some surgeries, and I'm not worried about um going back into my addictions just because, there's some other enticements, that other people have had issues with in the past. Like, let's say that the doctor gave them some pain medication to a patient, and the next thing they're back into the full throttle of their addiction of, heroin or crystal meth or alcoholism or whatever it was, eating disorders. So it's really about getting over the addiction itself. You might have heard about the dry addict, the dry alcoholic that has gone to AA, and they stop drinking, and yet they smoke like a fiend, are promiscuous, and have sex with multiple partners, and or whatever it is. They just adopt one addiction for another. And so what this whole system is about, um, process is about, is to overcome addiction altogether, because rather than, you know, having those negative associations toward those past events in our lives, we're going to look at those events and say, okay, we're going to look at this differently, and that we are now enough. And when you're now enough, you don't have to worry about going nuts about any kind of substance. Does that make sense? It did to me, and maybe it doesn't for other people. I don't know. Maybe the whole AA and A thing worked or works for you. There are some professionals that believe that that's just the only way that is going to work for the most part. But there is, you know, this mainstream mentality that I think is kind of cancerous. It's sometimes it does more harm than good. In the medical profession, they say, if it does harm, more harm than good, then maybe that's not a good idea. The percentage of recovery in these 12-step programs isn't always great. I do like the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints' 12-step recovery, because it has an emphasis on Christ the Savior, and by being able to, reform those addictions through the atonement of Jesus Christ, which is different, than the traditional 12-step model, like in AA, that is entirely non-denominational, even though they claim that there is no religious component to it. There is. And it kind of goes, in my opinion, it goes too far and says, hey, you know, hi, my name is so and so, and I'm an addict, or I'm an alcoholic, and I can't get over it, on my own, which is true. And yet, down the road, when you have these affirmations that you chant and tell yourself in groups and individually, that you're never going to be able to have control, and that's part of honesty. Well, I kind of think that that's dangerous as well, just as dangerous as saying I can go out and drink again. So it's looking at it differently. Look at the behavior and what the root cause of that behavior is, change it, and there's some chance. So going back to the whole thing, if somebody reaches out to me and they want help and they're willing to do the work, I'm willing to set aside my own time and work with you. Um, that's all you have to do is have that sincere desire to change, and and basically that's it. And we'll have a little one-on-one and see if it's a right fit. Uh, me for you and you for me. It's got to be both ways. But I can tell you right now, if you want to change and you're at that point in your life, or if you know somebody that's ready to change and they're at that point in their life, reach out to me. www.transformthemind.org is my website. And there you can find contact emails and even a telephone. All right. So give it a try. So, I mean, what do you have to lose? What does RTT look like? That most of the time when I'm talking to clients, they're in pain, in physical pain, they're in emotional pain. If that's you, RTT can help, and it can have a permanent effect, even with a single 90-minute session. And some clients and some issues, can take up to 3 sessions, like I mentioned before. You know, one of the main differences with RTT is that it's a method that truly empowers clients, which is important. By using techniques like role functions and purpose, and it honors the values, um, honors and values the significance of clients where they attach to their issues and problems, and then offers a powerful emotional release for them so they can ultimately actually become free of pain, right? And another difference with RTT is the use of command cell therapy. It's a modality for purposefully healing the body, which is another session we can do as well, which allows you to go after things on a cellular level. There are affirmations that you'll listen to in your recordings that will specifically target areas in your body that need to function better. It could be organs in your body. It can be just overall a better sound functioning body on a cellular level, which heals the body. It's purposeful. And as opposed to positive conditioning alone, right? And lastly, RTT draws out the unfinished business, meaning that it is a technique for addressing the trauma that, as we talked about earlier, that clients have been holding on to for many years, and it upgrades the child in a therapeutic space, for dialogue and communication with significant others, even the herder. Um, Other techniques are emerging the child and dialogue with the person that hurt you, and going back to each scene in the regression to emphasize that it's not me. And then it emphasizes as to why. So all those things become empowering, in RTT. And as you can see, it's not just hypnosis. And, the brain reprograms, after 21 days, 3 weeks or so. That's scientific. So when you go and extract these ideas out, and embrace and empower the positive sides and the rethinking, the reconfiguring of those mindsets, then in a positive way, you reprogram your brain so that behaviors become permanent. The good behaviors you want, right? And the bad behaviors are lost. They're no longer affordable. They're no longer, you become indifferent. to bad behaviors, which indifference, in essence, is the opposite of hate, right? To become indifferent, you know, it's really more powerful. I am indifferent to drinking alcohol. I'm indifferent to smoking marijuana because it plays no effect on it. I mean, on me as a person. I have no desire. I can get on an airplane and fly, and a flight attendant could say, "Hey, you have a free drink. Would you like that?" I've had that numerous times, and I'm like, "Thanks. You know, I wish you were given some food, but appreciate it." Um, I might not have been able to do that many years ago, and you can do that as well. So let me help you get there if you have that desire and to become free. And what do you have to lose, right? Um, and let's get through this together. All right.